Samsung just launched 5 new products all at once, and instead of making one perfect phone, they decided to split their identity completely into two. You have the Fold 8 for people who watch content, you have the Fold 8 Ultra for people who work, we have the Flip 8 for people who just want something different, and two watches that honestly nobody expected to be the highlights of the event. I have some thoughts about these products that they've released. Some of these are genuinely impressive, some of them left me with real questions, and one of them is probably not what Samsung wants you to think it is. Let us get into it. Let us start with the Fold 8 because this is the one most people are going to be looking out for first. Samsung made a deliberate decision with this phone. They went wider, the aspect ratio on the inner display is better, the way it sits in your hand when it is open is more natural, and they redesigned the hinge mechanism so that the opening feels tighter and more intentional. When you pop this thing open, it feels like it was built to be open. But here is who this phone is actually for. If you watch a lot of content on your phone, if you read, if you scroll, if you want a big screen without carrying a tablet around, the Fold 8 makes sense for you. Samsung built this as a media consumption device, and every design decision reflects that. However, I have to be honest about what's missing. There is no telephoto lens on the Fold 8. For a phone at this price point, that's a very real gap. If you care about camera versatility, if you shoot at distance, if you do any kind of photography that requires zoom, this phone is going to frustrate you. And this is where Samsung positioning starts to become very interesting because the Fold 8 is being placed as the mid-tier option in the foldable lineup, which means Samsung is openly telling you that this is not their best foldable, it's actually their most accessible foldable. Whether it's a good thing, that depends entirely on what you need it for. Now this is the one Samsung really wants you to buy, the Fold 8 Ultra. The Fold 8 Ultra is thin, large at 8 inches on the inner screen, and it is built with titanium display materials. The battery is 5000 mAh silicon carbon cell, which on paper should give you a serious all-day performance, and the productivity credentials are real. If you work from your phone, if you use it like a mini laptop, if you need split screen and multitasking to actually work very well, the Ultra delivers on that. But here is my honest take, and I think this is important for anyone that is deciding whether to spend the extra money. The Ultra feels like a good annual refinement. Thinner, bigger, better battery, better materials, all of that is true. What it does not feel like is a leap. When Samsung puts the word Ultra on something, the expectation is that you are getting something fundamentally different from everything else, a category that it's on its own. The S26 Ultra earned that name. This Fold Ultra feels more like a polished version of what came before it rather than a reimagining of what a foldable can be. Now, that does not make it a bad phone. It is probably the best foldable that Samsung has ever made, but if you are upgrading from a Fold 6 or a Fold 7, specifically for the Ultra, make sure you are upgrading for specific reasons, not just for the annual upgrade. The Flip 8 is lighter, it is thinner, and the cover screen is now genuinely functional in a way flips were not. You can now run almost everything from the cover screen without having to open the phone at all. Messaging, apps, media controls, even some navigation. Samsung has essentially made the cover screen a full mini display, and this is technically impressive. But here is what I want to be honest with, because I think this is something worth thinking about. The whole point of a flip design is the intentionality of flipping it open. There is a purpose to that motion. You flip it open when you mean to use the phone. You flip it closed when you are done with using the phone. The intentionality is actually good for how we use our device. If the cover screen now does everything the inner screen does, you are essentially removing the moment of intention. You are just using a small phone permanently, and at that point, what is a foldable experience actually going to give you beyond a talking point? I do not think the Flip 8 is a bad choice for people who want something different, something stylish, something that fits in a pocket better than any flagship. It still delivers, but I would think carefully about whether the cover screen being this capable is actually what you want from this form factor. Okay, I want to talk about the surprise of the entire event. Nobody came into this launch expecting the watches to be the highlights, and yet here we are. The Watch 9 and the Watch 2 Ultra are both running the new Snapdragon Wear Elite chip. Performance difference is noticeable, apps respond faster, animations are smoother, vitals tracking and fitness indexing are now more comprehensive than anything Samsung has put on a wrist before. But the number that genuinely surprised me is the Watch 2 Ultra's display brightness, 5000 nits. That is a record for smartwatches. In direct sunlight, in harsh door environment condition, a screen is actually readable in a way that smartwatches screen are simply not. If you have been on the fence about upgrading your Galaxy Watch, the Watch 9 and the Watch 2 Ultra are the most compelling reasons Samsung has given you in a few years. They are not just incremental improvement, the chip upgrade alone changes the daily experience of the smartwatch. Before we wrap up, I want to quickly talk about the software side because there are few things worth knowing. Fan Cam is an AI auto tracking feature that keeps a subject in frame automatically during the video. If you film events, sports, or anything with movement, this is genuinely useful and it works better than you would expect. Gemini Notebooks now allows you to summarize long content directly on the device. Documents, notes, long messages, it pulls out what matters without you reading everything yourself. And Now Nudge is still rolling out. It's a context-aware messaging tool that reminds you to respond to messages at a moment when it actually makes sense to do so. It's not just a notification, but a smart prompt based on what is happening around you. It is not fully available everywhere yet, but when it arrives, it is one of those features you will consider how you have managed without it. So, where does this leave us? Samsung has done something interesting with this launch. Instead of making one foldable that tries to be everything, they have separated their foldable lineup into clear identities. The Fold 8 is for consumers, the Fold 8 Ultra is for professionals, and the Flip 8 is for style. That clarity is actually helpful for buyers. You know more quickly which one is for you. But the question I am still sitting here with after seeing all of these foldable categories as a whole is justifying the premium price yet. For most people, a well-spec flagship at half that price will do more in daily life with less compromise. Where Samsung absolutely delivered without any asterisk is the watches. The Watch 9 and the Watch 2 Ultra are excellent and it deserves more attention than they are getting because everyone is focused on the foldables. And that is my honest take on the Samsung 2026 foldable lineup. If you're thinking about any of these devices, drop a comment below and tell me which one you are considering and why. I want to know if it's the Fold 8 Ultra productivity features are what is pulling you in, or it is the Flip 8 cover screen that has got your attention. If this video helped you understand the lineup better, give it a like because it genuinely helps this channel to reach more people who are about to make this purchase decision. Subscribe today forever and I will see you in my next video.
You think I would look pretty